So Sega had quite an interesting era to say the least. Picture this, it was the 2000s and Sega just left the console wars. That meant that the Dreamcast was pretty much dead, so they had no other option to become a third-party developer. That meant they had to make games for the complete platform, the GameCube, PlayStation 2 and Xbox. So in the process of that, they ported over the Dreamcast games or made sequels of those games. But of course that meant that Sonic had to be released on a Nintendo platform, and well, it happened. The hit game Sonic Adventure 2 from the Dreamcast got ported to the Nintendo GameCube, and it worked really well. Not only did it introduce people to the Sonic franchise, but it sold really well. It became the best-selling game on the GameCube that was not made by Nintendo. And later on they made some compilations of the old games, but eventually they were gonna make a multi-platform Sonic game. And well, it happens, and it was not Sonic Adventure 3, it was Sonic Heroes!
Released in January 2004 for the GameCube, PlayStation 2 and Xbox. Sonic Team decided to simplify and change the adventure formula as an attempt to introduce new people into the Sonic franchise. So, gone are the treasure hunting, hopwards, shooting, fishing, and kart racing, which is no all-stars racing, which is nothing compared to Riders, which is nothing compared to the best racing game ever. Okay, I'm getting off track. Essentially, they decided to go back to its roots, ditching the multiple playstyles and previous attempts at realistic environments. What we ended up with was the very first attempt to translate the arcade nature of the 2D games into 3D. In theory, this should attract all audiences, the classic fans, adventure fans, and newcomers alike.
However, despite all that, Sonic Heroes is easily the most divided Sonic game out there. There's a lot of people who absolutely love this game and claim to be one of the best Sonic games out there. And at the same time, there's a lot of people who absolutely hate this game and claim to be one of the worst Sonic games out there. In fact, a lot of people will argue that this game is the beginning of Sonic's downfall. And what I mean. Shortly afterwards, they made the game that no one shuts the fuck up about. Well, okay, all I want to answer in this video. Is Sonic Heroes really the beginning of Sonic's downfall, and does it really belong in a pile of terrible piece of garbage Sonic games out there? No, but let's still play it.
So Sonic Heroes has 4 different campaigns. You play through Team Sonic, Team Duck, Team Rose, and Team Chaotix, which these characters actually come from the Skill 32X game, Knuckles Chaotix. Interesting choice. All 4 teams have their unique adventures, and at times they will fight and battle each other, and other times they will battle with Dr. Eggman as usual. That being said, these plots themselves are actually really simple. So Team Sonic receives a... what is the frame rate? Let me fix this real quick. So Team Sonic gets a letter from Eggman saying he's going to conquer the world in 3 days and challenges them to stop him. Which they probably will because they have already stopped him like a billion times already. And Tails jumps out the plane and lets it crash. Wow, imagine someone doing this in real life. Team Dog starts with Rouge looking for Eggman's treasure. Sees Shadow. Wait, didn't he die in Adventure 2? Well, whatever. And by pressing buttons, wakes both Shadow and Omega. And Omega starts fighting everywhere trying to kill Shadow, thinking he's one of Eggman's robots. So Omega's mad at Eggman for locking him in a room, and Shadow apparently has amnesia and can't remember anything, so he's looking for answers. So they partner up to try and find Eggman and stop him. Team Rose is relaxing on a sunny day on the beach. Amy's looking at a picture of Sonic, and apparently Green's missing Shawnee is on the picture, as well as Froggy. Yes, big lost Froggy again. Jesus Christ, not again. So they go out and try to find them. Team Chaotix apparently is a detective agency. Charlie receives a walkie-talkie in the mail where some dude talking from the other side offers them money if they do a series of tasks. Espio doesn't seem to like this. Vector pretty much tells him to fuck off, and they go to do on the missions anyways. And that's practically it. There are more cutscenes in several stages and encounters, but really there's not much to say here. The writing itself is solid for the most part. Sonic Heroes tries to be a bit more comedic and childish, but it isn't so forced and obnoxious compared to Colors of Lost World. It still has its serious moments, and the characters are likable for the most part. However, while it definitely is enjoyable, there still are some corny lines here and there.
It's a fake?
Just what do you think you're doing here?
Who's this broad?
Whoa, Vector! And the reason for some of these encounter battles are very dumb.
Gotcha, my darling Sonic.
Amy, what are you doing here?
Sonic, this time there's no way out of marrying me.
Amy, calm the fuck down.
Also, Amy, aren't you 12?
But overall, Sonic Heroes is very lighthearted and child-friendly, especially compared to Avenger 2 more serious tone. And while I do prefer more complex premises found in Sonic Unleashed or Black Knight, I don't have a problem here. It's nice to have something simple once in a while, as long as it doesn't feel so forced.
That was cool. Pun entirely intended.
Sonic, what the fuck? As for the voice acting, this is the very last time the original cast was involved. And I gotta say, this is the best delivery so far. Ryan Drummond as Sonic just sounds fantastic here.
Alright, Eggman. Let's get this party started. Ha! Think I'd miss this? Time to crack that Eggman wide open! Yeah, let's party!
And Dean Bristol as Eggman is terrific.
Your memory? What memory? You have no past to remember. What did you say? Now I'm really mad!
And the rest of the characters sound appropriate as well too. However, Tails is often considered the worst of them all. And while I actually don't mind the voice too much, some of his lines tend to become really annoying.
Wow, my head's spinning! Eggman's robots! Look at all those Eggman robots! I'm falling! Shut up, Tails!
This is the very first Sonic game where the characters talk during the course of the stages. Some of the shots here is actually quite entertaining and there are some nice comebacks here and there, but most of the shot is just plainly plain obvious.
Why don't we try going up there?
Oh, Tails, what would I do without you? And now that I mention it, I think it's about time to discuss the most important part of the game, the gameplay. Now, despite having 4 teams, the gameplay is actually pretty much the same on every single one of them. Every team has 3 characters, a speed character, flight character, and power character. The speed character, well, is the fastest one of the 3. What? It has the homing attack, Rango jump, light speed dash, tornado spin, and Rocket Excel. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the very first Sonic game to not have the spin dash since Sonic 2. And while this definitely annoys some people, I actually quite like the Rocket Excel. It's an easy way to gain speed quickly and it works quite well. And while I do prefer having the spin dash like it was in Sonic Adventure, I gladly take the Rocket Excel over the poor implementation of the spin dash found in future games. The flight character can carry the team through boundless pits, take higher routes, and attack airborne enemies. And at last, the power character is great for killing enemies and breaking through stuff on the way. Rated E for everyone. It can also do the triangle dive, which helps the team to reach higher places. Switching between characters is quite easy and simple. Just press the indicated button displayed at the top right corner of the screen in order to switch to the desired character. However, do take in mind that you can't switch characters during mid-air, which is fair enough since otherwise it will be really easy to break the game. These teams do have some differences on their attacks and abilities. Big and Vector are able to stun while Knuckles and Omega launches the other characters into the target. SP for example can become invisible while Amy can stay in the air for a little while. By collecting rings and defeating enemies, you unlock the Team Blast. When activated, it kills all enemies on screen. The aftermath of it does change depending on the team. For example, Team Talk will freeze time for a while and Team Rose receives shields, levels up the characters, and receives invisibility for a short while. Damn, that's pretty awesome. Throughout the way, you can upgrade your character stats by collecting these orbs, which you can get them by killing enemies. When you level up your characters, they become much stronger and over to advance. Now, Sonic Heroes is considered to be the game where Sonic started to lose his control. The general complaint of Sonic Heroes is how they up the acceleration, making the controls feel very slippery. That means you're gonna run into a lot of walls, jumping to stop, or even fall off a cliff. So I guess you can say that Sonic is too fast. Look, I get it. They probably made this just so the scripted scenes look more impressive, and to be fair, it is faster and you can say it's just the idea of a Sonic game about, you know, going fast. But it does feel junkier and definitely causes problems here and there. However, they're fine for the most part. I can get used to it, it's not the worst Sonic has ever controlled. For the platforming segments, you are probably gonna switch to Tails anyways, which is far slower, so there's no issue there. However, I can't help but wonder how did they mess up the controls here, since the first Sonic Adventure released in 1998 controlled perfectly in my eyes. It controlled smoothly, had a perfect acceleration, always felt responsive, and overall, it was a joy to control. Sadly, ever since Sonic Heroes, all 3D Sonic games seem to have problems with the control, either being too slippery, too stiff, or being a failed attempt at motion controls. However, as I said before, I don't mind the controls here that much, since I feel that the stages were made with these controls in mind, which I think it's time to discuss about the stages themselves. Okay, you know what? Just gonna say here right now that I believe that Sonic Heroes has some of the best and fun level design found in a 3D Sonic game. The very first stage, Seeds Like Hell, already gives a great first impression. Even at the very start, you can see multiple pathways. This stage already gives a good example of how the game is going to be. It does a great job by demonstrating what utility each character has. It gives you multiple pathways, making it very replayable, since you can find hidden goodies or faster routes. You go to a go-kart and of course have these speedy set pieces, so it reminds you that you are indeed playing a Sonic game. Now if that stage wasn't explanatory enough, don't worry because Team Bros has you covered with a tutorial stage.
Hello, I'm
Yeah, this is where Ramucho started to become a little too fucking annoying. The high-pitched voice is just a bit irritating for someone whose main purpose is to guide teach the player. He was in Avenger 2, but he was there just in case he was needed, and even then he wasn't as irritating as he is here. But okay, going back to the actual stages, thankfully Sonic Heroes continues on the great foundation found in Seeds Like Hell for the rest of the game. These stages have their own unique gimmicks, making the game feel more diverse and so it doesn't feel samey after a while. There's Rail Grinding. You turn into a pinball. You will find light-colored frogs that causes rain, leading plants to grow which opens some roots. And dark frogs do quite the opposite. You're gonna find orbs that cause the stage flip upside down or change the position of several objects. The stages do have a good amount of platforming, as well as loop-de-loops and speedy set pieces. And thankfully, Sonic Heroes does reward skilled players by having a lot of multiple pathways, so more experienced players can get to the stage faster or find hidden goodies like upgrades and drinks. They are scripted scenes, but even then, some of them still let you move a little, giving you a chance to score items so they don't feel like a total waste of time. There is puzzle solving here, just so you can take a little break from all the quick gameplay. On paper, all of this sounds great and a lot of fun, bringing everything we love about the 2D games into 3D for the very first time. And I'm glad to report that for the most part, Sonic Heroes delivers on its premise. Sonic Heroes really is a lot of fun, and the stages are some of the best the franchise has ever seen. I enjoy how much freedom and multiple pathways Power Plant offers. Really like the emphasis of frogs and rain found in Frog Forest, the flip mechanic found in Heim Castle, where Cannon does Statue of Reflexes. And then there's Egg Flip, one of the best final stages in any Sonic game. It's challenging, has multiple pathways, uses every single character of the team, you fly while avoiding missiles and collecting rings, there's a good amount of platforming and speed and you're on the sky. I mean, what else can you ask for? Sonic Heroes really is all about high-speed platforming. Going from point A to point B is the name of the game. 3 out of 4 times. So I guess I should state the differences between each team. Team Sonic is normal mode, basically the default option. It gets progressively harder by each stage. The stage level is appropriate and experienced players can find alternative routes. Team Dark is hard mode. Their stages are far longer and requires experience. They are the hardest of them all by having more advanced routes and challenges. Team Bros is easy mode, like really easy. The stages are the shortest of them all, and basically everyone can get through stages without much if any trouble at all. And Team Chaotix is mission mode. You have to do a series of tasks like killing a number of enemies, find some collectibles, not get caught, or borrow a certain amount of torches. These are the longest of them all and requires a good amount of exploration. Now I did have a good time with all of them. However, Team Bros is so pathetically easy and short, where it kinda felt like a waste of time for me. And while I actually enjoyed most of the Chaotix missions, stages like Mystic Mansion felt adorable and became a bit of a chore. Team Sonic is my favorite one of the bunch. These are excellent for casual playthroughs, have a good amount of advanced routes, they don't feel so long or short and it's just the most fun and replayable. It was a bit tempting to declare Team Dark as my favorite since these are more advanced, harder and interesting. But stages like Final Force just goes on for so long. But despite all that, all these teams are fun to play through, even if it can get a little repetitive after a while. Now something that isn't repetitive are the aesthetics. For a 2004 game, Sonic Heroes looks absolutely gorgeous. Everything is colorful, flashy and lit. From the neon lights found in Casino Park to the moody lighting of Heim Castle, to the colorful Frog Forest, Sonic Heroes never comes out as desolate. The use of color is terrific and its art direction is simply timeless. They clearly took a lot of inspiration from the older games and these stages really shine even 19 years later. Sonic Adventure 2 looked great for 2001, especially for the Dreamcast, but Heroes is a clear step up. Even if the character models looked like plastic toys and the polygon count is a bit low even back then, the creativity and color palette more than makes up for it. For this review, I played to the Xbox version, specifically on an Xbox 360 by backwards compatibility. The game runs at smooth 60 frames per second with basically no slowdown. I gotta say, this game does look really nice and sharp by HDMI. This is probably the best looking version of the 3 console. That being said, the CG cutscenes for some reason seem to run at about 15 frames per second, making them look really sharp, and there are some minor visual oddities when playing on 360, but nothing major that can be overlooked. And while we're on the topic of presentation, the music is nothing short of fantastic as well, having a wide variety of genres. There's atmospheric melodies as well as rock tunes, there's technoid tracks and relaxing tunes as well. Take a listen! Now, I have been pretty positive with this game so far, but boy, this game was rushed out the window and it really feels like it. My biggest issue with the game is the overall lack of polish. Also, my deaths don't really feel like it was my fault. Just working collision detection, light-speed dash fails to execute, and several glitches.
Well, the game broke.
Now why I tore both of the stages here, both Casino Park and Big Highway suck. The aesthetic is absolutely beautiful, and aside from the pinball sections, these are absolutely okay stages. The problem is that you turn into a pinball for the majority of the time. These just don't work. There's slippery controls, weird physics, wonky collisions, hip deaths, they become internal and feel extremely luck-based, and overall, it's just aren't as fun as you may expect. The boss fights kinda suck. They consist of killing a bunch of enemies or pursuing Eggman and spamming the homing attack like there's no tomorrow. There are team battles which are even worse. They are so pathetically easy that I don't think it's worth talking about. To get the Chaos Emeralds, you need to find a key that's hidden in each stage, as well as not taking damage, otherwise you have to find another key. And then you go to the special stages. Yeah, they fucking stink. Basically, they try to replicate the Sonic 2 special stages, a format I already dislike, and somehow they managed to fuck it up even more. This is where the lack of polish really shows. The horrendously slippery controls, the wonky physics that causes you to slow down for no reason at all, and yes, glitches too. This is easily the worst part of the game. None of this requires skills and is very stressful, and it's mostly because of rush programming. I recommend collecting the emeralds with Team Rose, since their stages are the easiest so you can try again without much issue. I recommend switching to the power character since they have the best control in these special stages. I bet it doesn't say much. Alright, so Team Chaos discovers that Eggman was behind the walkie-talkie all this time. But apparently, Eggman was locked in a room by Metal Sonic, the real evil of the story here. Metal Sonic copies Sonic's data and combines it with Chaos power. We proceed to watch the longest transformation ever, and apparently we are doomed.
If only we had the 7 Chaos Emeralds!
Whoa, what a surprise. The chances of victory are slim, but Sonic proceeds to fight against Metal Sonic anyways. The other teams decide to help by distracting and attacking Metal Sonic, just so Team Sonic has more time to think and take action. So now, with the power of the 7 Chaos Emeralds, it's time to turn into Super Sonic. And those and Knuckles only get a show, wow, that's lame. And boy, what a final boss this is. You just spam the X button like there's no tomorrow, charge the Team Blast and execute it. But even though it's so pathetically easy, I think I admire the tremendous atmosphere, the ultimate form of Metal Sonic fighting on the sky, and doing all of this while listening to the most kick-ass Crush 40 song, What I'm Made Of.
I don't care what you're thinking as you turn to me, 'cause what I have in my two hands is enough to set me free. I can fight the feeling to resist it over time, but when it's just too much to take, you sneak up from behind. Trying to reach inside of me, trying to drain my energy. Let me show you just what I'm made of.
Yeah, we did it!
Phew, that was pretty tough. Too bad it's all over. For you!
So Team Sonic defeats Metal Sonic and the day is saved. Amy goes on to chase Sonic and Team Chaotix goes to catch Eggman just to get the money. And that's all of Sonic Heroes.
Despite the jank and the terrible special stages, guys, I still love this game. I still think it's one of the best 3D Sonic games out there. Just a lot of fun, the level design is still some of the best in the Sonic franchise. It's fast, there's a lot of spectacle, but you play the game, there's multiple pathways, a lot of creativity. The mechanic of switching the characters makes this a very interesting experience. The graphics look fantastic for a game that's already 19 years old. The music is fantastic. The story, I mean, yeah, it's not the deepest thing in the world, but I'm not against a light-hearted story that's simple, as long as it's not so forced. So yeah, I still think this is one of the greatest Sonic games out there, despite the terrible special stages, and I mean, yeah, it doesn't control as well, but I really believe that the heights easily outweighs the bad in this game. So I still think Sonic Heroes is one of the most played of the 6th generation, it's one of the best 3D Sonic games out there, and I absolutely recommend it. Even though you need to tolerate a little bit of that jank in this game. But I mean, well, it's still no Sonic Unleashed type of good, but I know, Sonic Heroes is still a pretty good game. So anyways guys, thank you guys for watching this video. Like, subscribe, and comment, and share with your friends if you so wish. And I'll see you in the next one.